Mars enters its home sign of Scorpio on October 11th, and we have a very powerful Mars cazimi coming in at the end of November. Here's the scoop. On October 11th and 12th, Mars, our warrior planet, is going to ingress into the sign of Scorpio. And this is where Mars has its home at, in the sign of Scorpio. So we've got a powerful Mars coming in. I know that Mars in Virgo really gets caught up in some of the more intellectual pursuits. Mars in Libra sort of softens our edge a little bit. Again, a lot of intellectual energy there too. So if you're like me and you're wanting to kind of like get back into your workout kind of routine, Mars in Virgo is going to be really good for that. This is a very physical alignment. And that's because Mars in Scorpio has a lot of power, a lot of potency. There's a lot of drive. It's a very primal alignment. There's a lot of just like animal power, like bodily power, where like we need to sweat, we need to exercise. Something I think a lot about is how human beings are evolving. And something I talk a lot about is how back in the day, there was much more of a need to embrace your Mars. We had to work, we had to farm, to just do something simple like make a meal for yourself was this very Martian kind of task of toiling in the fields and then chopping everything up and cooking it on the stove. I mean, these are things that we don't, those are all Mars things, by the way. Cooking, fire, chopping, knives, like those are all Mars things. And we just don't do a lot of that anymore. A lot of us, we sit in our car, we sit at our desk, and that is a whole other set of issues on our hips and whatnot. But yeah, we just don't have a lot of that Mars. Like we don't battle like we used to. We don't trek like we used to, like as human beings. So in the grand history of our human relationship with our animal body, like we just don't have that Mars connection anymore. So where does it go and what do we do with it, instead of just being trolls behind an avatar online, so how do we find a container for this Mars? How do we find healthy expression of Mars? So one I think is just like sweating, finding a way to sweat. It's like it's so interesting, to see people running. I'm always like kind of laughing to myself at people running because like we have to go out of our way to provide that need for us at this point in our evolution. So Mars and Scorpio, I want you to connect with your body. I want you to find ways to sweat. And yeah, I mean, there is a place to battle. There is a place to confront and have words and express discontent. There are places for that. And you might find that those tendencies are a little bit more available with Mars and Scorpio. This is a contentious energy, but it's also very stealthy. Mars in Scorpio is very good for plotting and planning, and it's very it's a placement that's very clear on where it wants to go and what it's about. There's nothing black and white about Scorpio. It's all or nothing. So we're very clear on what we want, where we're going after, but we're not quick to jump the way maybe Mars and Aries is. Mars and Scorpio is stealthy. We're plotting in the shadows. We're not letting people know what we're thinking. Like I have so many Scorpio friends over the years, and all of a sudden they're moving and they didn't tell you anything. They didn't tell you about their process. They didn't tell you anything. Just all of a sudden they're making moves. Just all of a sudden it's all thought out. It's all planned out. That's Mars and Scorpio. It's quiet planning. So this is a time, we're going to start to see more planets entering the sign of Scorpio. This is the time where we're going to start sort of plotting and planning. So it's really good. This can be a really productive energy, but it's also fierce. So it might be a time of showing your claws a little bit if you have to, if you must. So yeah, it can be very constructive though for the behind the scenes projects. So that is a little bit about Mars and Scorpio. Mars is going to be in Scorpio. It's going to enter, depending on your time zone, from October 11th or 12th. It's going to be here through November 24th. We are going to see a really potent aspect, which I think I'll share with you now. So starting on November 16th, we're going to see Mars enter the heart of the sun at 24 degrees Scorpio. If you can all see that, they are sharing the same degree. So this is the Hellenistic definition of the cazimi, where they're within the same degree. This is the definition I presently favor. So yeah, we're going to start to see that. And this is going to last several days, folks, because the sun usually moves twice as fast as Mars, but when Mars is close to the sun like this, it's going to move a little bit faster. So they're going to be keeping in pace here. So this is going to last basically until the earlier hours on the 18th. See that? So early hours on the 18th. So we do get to enjoy this Mars cazimi for a while. And then actually, I think, might even catch up. Let's see here. Well, wait a second. Yeah, it does kind of extend over into the 19th, going over into the 26 degrees. So yeah, this is an extended cazimi. We do get the exact alignment though on, what is that date? The exact alignment is on the 18th. So it is at the 25 degrees. So yeah, Mars cazimi, Mars in the heart of the sun. We talked about Mars being stealthy and productive and very focused with a very specific tunnel vision, a very specific desire. Think about this as a really potent new moon. So we can think about the Mars cazimi as like a really potent new moon. So this is going to be really, really powerful. The entirety of Mars and Scorpio, but especially this potent alignment with the sun. If Mars is your time lord, or if Scorpio is your sign of the year, this is a really potent sort of seed of new beginning. It's quiet, it's internal. There's like a knowingness of how to proceed. It's like, Mars sharpening its blade, ready to strike in time once it gets a little more distance from the sun. So that's how these cazimis work, is they're really sort of intimate and personal and quiet usually. There's like a quiet spark of life that is igniting your inner world. And there's like a quiet, private, moving in a new direction. So yeah, this can be really, really powerful here. We've got a powerful Mars in its own sign, in its domicile, in the heart of the sun. So this is a really cool aspect to have on your radar for the end of November. And yeah, just notice what kind of comes up in terms of desire, in terms of passion, in terms of your own awareness of your animal, biological, lower reptilian brain, It's important to work with all the things that we've got. So yeah, just pay attention to that and have that one on your radar. And I hope that this Mars and Scorpio transit serves you in the highest and helps you move some mountains in your life. So for right now, that's your astrology shot of the day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. For more astrology in your world, you can connect with me on all platforms at Astro Catherine.